G'day, Whiskey. Welcome to week 6, lesson number 6. The devil is in the food detail. So if you're following on and doing this course week by week, in today's lesson, we're going to talk about nutrition again, and we're going to do a quick daily plan critique. Now, as I've said earlier, this is going to be particularly beneficial for those of you who are doing online with us, because it's just another way to get the information in. So every time you read something, listen to something, you only really retain about 10% of it. Every time you listen to it again and again, obviously that retention rate gets a bit higher. So it's very important that you do just carve out a little bit of time every week to listen to a new video or read a new article. Do something that's going to add value or add knowledge to the current base that you've got already. See, Matt has joined us, so I won't officially start this until we've got a couple on the line. So as you come on through, just let me know that you're in the house, say hello. I'm going to start inviting a few of you along as well. Cool. Just bear with me while I invite a few people just to get it all kicked off. If you are watching at a later time, then don't forget you can ask any questions you like at any stage and we'll get back to you. All right, let's kick this off. So welcome to week 6. We're at the halfway mark. This is about the time where all of those really fluffy honeymoon feelings start to dwindle away. Now you're starting to realize some bad habits that you have, and you may have mixed emotions about these habits. You may want to keep some of them. You may want to get rid of some. You may be racking your brain and not particularly knowing how to get rid of the really big ones. So before moving forward, as we go through the rules to creating metabolically precise meals, remember that all of this information is only useful if you take it in relevance to exactly where you are at right now in your journey. So if you aren't, or if you are doing this as your first 12-week program, then chances are you're not going to get everything right, and that's okay. In fact, you can get this as little as 20% right, and so long as it's better than what you were doing before, you'll get a particular result. And so long as you're recording data and you're tracking and measuring, you'll be able to make changes and make progress. So we always fall back to the saying that you should never strive for perfection, but always strive for progress. So in today's lesson, we're going to do a quick daily plan critique, just to see what you've learned so far. We're going to review the rules for MP eating, and we're going to talk about one thing that you're really going to have to lock onto if you're going to make a success out of this program or this attempt. I don't like to use the word program because really we're not focusing on doing the program 100%. What we're focused on is your current lifestyle and what you're currently doing. And that's the only way to progress is being better than what you did yesterday. All right. So let's do a quick review, a mid-program quiz, just to test you. So the first question is, which of these is the best source of omega-3 fats? Give you a couple of seconds to answer that, and then we'll move on. Question 2, which one of these is a source of first-class protein? write your answers down on a piece of paper or something, somewhere separate to the screen you're using. Question 3, what is the secret of good nutrition? Question 4, what is a cruciferous vegetable? Question 5, which one of these is a low energy carbohydrate source? Question 7, which one generally contains the most calories? We've skipped a question there. Typo, my bad. Question 7, which is now appearing as question 8. How many metabolically precise meals do most people need to get each day to ensure success? And the last question, how often can most people really afford to get it wrong and still get results? Give you a couple more seconds to answer that last question and any questions you haven't answered as yet. And then I'm going to start to give you the answers to those questions. So question 1, the best source of omega-3 fats? The answer is C. Flax seeds actually have the highest concentration of omega-3 fats of any food. Question 2, source of a first-class protein is B, low-fat cottage cheese. So remembering that a first-class protein is defined as a protein that has less than 10 grams of fat per 100 grams and likely comes from an animal source. The only exception to that rule is soy. So anything made through soy. All right, what's the secret to good nutrition? The answer is D, ensuring good choices are consistently available at the correct time. Question 4, what is a cruciferous vegetable? I can tell you it's not a vegetable that's been blessed. The answer is D, a Brussels sprout. Question 5, which one of these is a low energy carbohydrate source? The answer is B, cauliflower. Which one generally contains the most calories? The answer may shock you. It's A, 250 mils of orange juice. How many metabolically precise meals do most people need to get each day to ensure success? D is optimal. However, as long as it is one more than what you've currently been doing, or one better meal, then it's going to be a success. And the last question is, most people can really afford to get it wrong less than 10% of the time. So that's a small window of mistakes that you can make. With that said, don't strive for perfection, always strive for progression. If you're currently making 50% mistakes and 50% the right choice, then going to 25% or less is going to be a progression. All right. So how did you go? What I'd like to do now is write down everything you ate today and yesterday. Now, as we are in an online classroom, you're not going to be able to pass your completed meal plan to the person sitting next to you. But what I do want you to do is, once you've written it down, send it through to me, or send it through to Megan. Our emails are peter@physique.com.au or megan@physique.com.au. One of us will take a look at the meal plan and we'll critique it for you. All right, let's review the rules of metabolic meal construction. The first ingredient goes into creating a metabolically precise meal is protein. What type of protein is it? If you said first-class protein, you'd be correct. And as I defined earlier, a first-class protein is a protein source that generally comes from an animal that is low in fat, 10 grams or less fat per 100 grams of food. Plant foods typically have lower protein concentrations. That doesn't mean if you are vegan or vegetarian that you still cannot create a metabolically precise meal. All it means is that if you are restricted with what you eat, you must eat more of what you do eat. So to get the amount of protein that you need, most vegetarians and vegans will need to eat a lot more legumes, a lot more plant foods that are higher in protein than others. Now remember that both animal products and plant foods can be good and bad sources of fats. So minimizing the amount of fat in the meal is important. With that said, if you're eating a meal that has omega-3 as well as protein, such as salmon, then you can get away without minimizing the fat in that meal. So here are some examples of different protein sources. Obviously, we have our animal protein on the left. In the middle, we have almonds. And then on the right, we have legumes. The lowest in fat would be the legumes on the right. However, the highest in protein concentration would be the roast on the left. Almonds aren't necessarily a great source of protein as they do tend to have a lot of fats. All right, moving on. Carbohydrates. Do not cut these out. Carbohydrates are important, but the right type of carbohydrate at the right time will speed results from exercise. We base our carbohydrate choices on the presence of the metabolic window. So thinking back, try and remember what opens the metabolic window. If you said exercise, you'd be correct. So exercise opens up a metabolic window. This is just an opportunity to channel whatever you eat to the right place. So if you have completed an intense workout, such as fire or ice, then it creates a window of opportunity where the protein you eat, the carbohydrates you eat, will go towards building muscle and replenishing glycogen stores or recovery. The easiest way to define a high energy or tell a high energy apart from a low energy is looking at it like this. A high energy carbohydrate is typically packaged, processed, and has a longer list of ingredients than low energy plant foods do. Low energy plant foods typically come from the ground. Minimal processing, they still look as if they were grown, and the ingredients list, if any, is typically short. A good example of a high energy carbohydrate is bread. Take a look at bread. There are a few ingredients in the list. It's packaged and it's processed. It doesn't look like the wheat that it came from. Low energy, a good example of a low energy that comes from the ground is a celery. Okay, so it looks pretty much as if it was picked. There's no processing and there's no ingredients list. Furthermore, frozen vegetables would be the best example of a packaged low energy plant food. It still comes from the ground. It still looks relatively the same. It's only been blanched and cut, and the ingredients list is typically what's in the packet, and that's it. If you do want to read a little bit more about carbohydrates, because I know it can be a confusing topic, there is a great article on mpbody.com called Carb Confusions and Calorie Delusions. So search that in the search tab of mpbody.com. All right. If you want a little task to complete, post your favorite high energy choices or high energy carbohydrate choices in Whiskey India Tango, our Facebook group, and post your list of favorite low energy choices as well. And that brings us to the last part to creating a metabolically precise meal. Every meal must contain good fats. So a common myth is that a low fat diet is essential to fat loss. The right fats will speed fat loss, and these are omega-3s. Remembering that we are quite deficient in omega-3 in the Western world. So increasing the amount of omega-3s we eat will serve to down-regulate that and improve our metabolism and improve the fat loss that comes from that. Conversely, the wrong types of fats will send your body the other way and promote inflammation, weight gain, and a host of other issues as well. So we want to really limit the amount of omega-6 and the amount of saturated fats we are taking in. It's not to say that they're bad, it's just that they are sending the ratio the wrong way. When you first begin, your body won't be able to metabolize those fats as well as somebody who has improved their metabolism over the years would be able to. So you need to limit those fats and then incorporate better fats, as in high omega-3 fats. Beautiful. All right. So this brings us to the final slide of the lesson today. Have you found your why yet? You're only 6 weeks in, so no pressure. Most people don't ever find their why because they don't ever start looking for it. So this concept basically comes from knowing exactly why you're doing what you're doing. A lot of people set out to achieve goals such as earn more money, get better health, find a relationship, but don't ever consider why they actually want that. So in terms of body transformation, when you set out to achieve a body transformation, typically, you come from sitting on the couch, one day you have a snapping point and you're like, all right, I need to get fit. And then you start to get fit, but the tasks that you have to complete to get fit actually become quite a pain. And that's putting it lightly. So when the pain of you sitting on the couch being unfit is less than the pain of actually getting fit, you'll always find yourself going back to the couch, as a little bit of a proverb for you. So what we need to do to ensure our success, we need to create a why, a reason that is so strong that the pursuit of getting into shape never becomes more painful than the why itself. Some good examples are an overweight mother not being able to go into the shops with her 16-year-old daughter and try on clothes with her. That's a real life why that we've had. Another why would be, I'll use my example. I've gone from wanting to look hot for all the chicks that I used to run around and date to wanting to be the best father I could be, to my latest why, which is gaining status and respect inside my professional community to further my career. As my whys got bigger and stronger, so did my level of compliance. Megan's why has been and always has been looking fit, feeling confident, and showing her girls that it's okay to look after yourself first. So there's a bunch of whys you can draw upon for inspiration, but really deep down inside, your why must come from you. It must be your why, and it must be something that really drives you forward. There's a big difference between deciding to do something and having a good enough reason to do it. Okay, so I'll show you some more examples. This is Ian Pearson, 38 years old, and his why was to fit into a 3XL Melbourne Storm jersey so he could go to the game with the jersey on. Now, a little bit of a backstory is his kids bought him this jersey. It was the biggest jersey you could buy, and he didn't fit into it. So naturally, he felt pretty ashamed of himself, and he used that why to get into really great shape and lose 32 kilos over 9 months. And this is Yvette May. Her why was her daughter, and being able to do the things that she wanted to do with her daughter at a drop of a hat. As you can see there, after 4 12-week programs, she really nailed that why. She really nailed that transformation result. Success and the common trait between all of these successes are that every single one of these people found their strong why. So for you to have a remarkable transformation like this, you must find that why. You can read their stories at mpbody.com. Hopefully that's a little bit of inspiration for you to give you a bit of a kick in the butt that you need for the next 6 weeks. If this is your first program, clearly it doesn't end there. So take it in your stride. Don't get overwhelmed with all the information, and don't get overwhelmed with everything you're not doing. Focus on what you are doing and focus on making that progress. Because in time and program after program, this is the way it's designed, program after program, you will progress to a point where you'll look back and you think, wow, look at how far I've come. That's where the gold is. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. Any questions, flick them through to me, and I'll see you next week.